Hi there, welcome back to the Alban allotment. So, you may be able to hear that it's a little bit echoey because I'm standing in our new house to talk to you today because our other house that we're moving out of is a bit of a train wreck at the moment, obviously full of boxes and stuff is everywhere. So I thought to do this video, I thought I'd come to the new house and talk to you from here instead. And there's actually quite a lot of nice natural light in this kitchen, so it's a pretty good place to do it. I just apologise if it's a little bit echoey. That will sort itself out as we move our furniture in. So in today's video, since it's the start of April, it is actually the 1st of April today. This is not an April Fool's. I hate April Fool's so much. But yeah, since it's April, I think it's time to do a video on what we're going to be sewing in April when things really start to kick off. So we did go on holiday. We went to Italy a few days ago. We travelled out last Sunday and we came back on Wednesday. So that mixed with moving house means that we did indeed fall a little bit behind on our sewing, but not loads actually. We've managed to keep on top of it. The plants themselves though are starting to get really big, especially the ones that we sowed in January and February. So it is time for them to be moved into the greenhouse soon. We're just waiting for this hopefully last cold snap to go before we move them in there. But you know, the sunflowers actually, they're doing really well in the greenhouse. They're not bothered at all by the frost. So it might be okay just to move them there anyway. Anyway, so yeah, we've got a little bit of catching up to do. So the last week of sewing in March just didn't really happen. So we still got to do our carrots. So we've got quite a few varieties actually stored, but the ones that I picked out that we're going to do hopefully this weekend or very soon is one of them is Amsterdam Forcing 3. It's apparently a very early harvest. They are from Johnson's. So hopefully we'll be doing those this weekend, as well as Autumn King, which worked out quite well for us last year. So hopefully we'll get some good crops from those. We're not doing any parsnips yet. We did our parsnips in June, end of June, start of July time, just after we took on plot 12 last year, and our parsnips germinated really well, and we had some ready to harvest for Christmas, so I think we're just going to repeat that again this year. We've still got some in the freezer as well, so we're not desperate for some right now. And then also we're meant to have done a successional sowing of all year round cauliflower. There are some that have already been sown at the start of January, I believe, that were just in the greenhouse. They just got left in the greenhouse to germinate, and it took obviously a very long time for them to show, but they have really taken off now, so they actually need potting on. And these ones will be the successional ones for hopefully later in the year. So that's this weekend, maybe a little bit later than this weekend, but next week we also want to start sowing our pumpkins. So we have actually already sown the last of the Atlantic giant seeds that we had. Only 2 of those have come up so far out of the 4 that I've sown, but that's fine. Even if we just get a couple of big fruits off of those plants, I'd be quite happy. But we started those ones a bit earlier just because they take a lot longer to mature because they're such big fruits. So those ones are done. But then on top of that, we want to do our squash actually. So we want to do our Yuchiki curry squash, which we still haven't done, which we needed to do, which we wanted to do during March, but that just didn't happen. Again, we were quite behind on the sowing of the Yuchiki curry, so that's also going to happen in this same week. So hopefully that will happen next week, along with butternut squash. We love butternut squash and Yuchiki curry. I don't know if that's how you pronounce Yuchiki curry, but that's just what I call it. So yeah, Yuchiki curry and butternut squash are 2 of our favourites to grow and eat. We almost got some of these to ripen in time before the plot flooded and froze at the end of last year, but not quite. So just want to start these off a little bit earlier this year and get them in the ground. And then in terms of pumpkins, next week we'll be hopefully sowing our weeby little pumpkins. So these ones, we've actually already tried once. Oh, they almost fell out. We've tried once, but they just didn't really take off. So hopefully this year will be our year for pumpkins. We are just going to sow them into big pots so that they won't be in modules. They'll just be in bigger pots ready to be then put straight into the ground when they're ready. So we'll germinate those either at home in the greenhouse, and then they'll go out after the last frost has passed. And then the week after that, there is some more pumpkins. So we've got a zombie pumpkin, which we've actually never even opened. We've had this for a couple of years now, this packet, so probably time to use it. They look really cool, and if we can get some for Halloween, that'll be amazing. But yeah, looking forward to doing those. And then also just a classic 100-weight pumpkin as well, which is probably going to be more for actual eating rather than for Halloween. Might even be able to make pumpkin pie out of it, which will be really cool. And then also in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to do our first sowing of sweet corn as well. We have quite a lot of seeds, so it doesn't really matter if they get hit by a frost. But these ones will be done either indoors or in the greenhouse, probably in the greenhouse at this point. And then they will go out, but then we'll also do a later sowing of direct sowed corn as well, because we haven't actually tried direct sowing corn. But some of the other stuff that we direct sowed last year was really good. So I think it's probably something that we want to try doing a bit more. So we'll do an initial sowing of corn now and then a direct sowing at a later date. And then the week after that is more of a brassica week. So we actually have 3 different cabbages that we want to do, or at least the first sowing of this month. So the first one will just be the red cabbage, calibos, or calibos. Don't know how you pronounce that one either. But we grew this last year and it was really good. Probably grew a little bit too many without successional sowing. So we had loads of those in abundance and then we didn't use them all. So this time, because oh my God, cabbage goes so far as well. You can use half a cabbage in a whole meal and you've got loads left over. So we'll do a few of these and then we'll hopefully do a few successional sowings of those as the year goes on. And the same with, we have a couple of Savoy cabbages actually. No, actually one Savoy cabbage. This one is from Frankie. We haven't ever grown Savoy cabbages before. We only grew red cabbages last year, so hopefully that'll be cool. I think Sergio is probably going to like those more than I do because they look a lot more like kale. I'm not a big fan of kale, but we'll grow them anyway because it's one of those things that I feel like we have to grow. And then we also have a greyhound cabbage as well, which looks like something that I would be much more likely to eat. So we'll do that one as well. So we did have a bout of clubroot last year on plot 12, which we didn't ever have on plot 79. It didn't affect all of our brassicas, but it did affect some of our sprouts. So hoping that we don't get a big problem with that. And I think some of these varieties that I bought are meant to be fairly clubroot resistant. I can't remember the exact which ones of those are, but apparently they're meant to be. Oh, the sun's just going in. That's a shame. And then in the final week of April, I didn't have a lot planned actually, because past that point, I think it just starts to become successional sowing. I don't know why I can't say the word successional sowing properly today. But other than that, we haven't actually got any beetroot in the ground or anything yet. So in the last week of April, we'll probably do some beetroot, and then alongside that, we'll also do some spinach, which we did try to do sometime in winter at the start of this year. I can't remember the exact month now. But that just didn't come up, so there's a good chance that could still come up, but I would think by now that would have probably come up. So we will try that again and we'll just try it in the same bed as the beetroot. So that is what we are growing in April. I can't believe it's April, that is crazy. So hopefully soon this house will look like an actual home and it will be less echoey and we will be able to catch up on all the jobs that we have been meaning to do because we haven't got any time to do them. So on that note, I do actually have to go. I have to go back and help Sergio finish packing because we move on Monday. So I am going to say goodbye and I will hopefully see you in the next video. So from me, Sergio and Poppy, take the very best of care and we'll see you again soon. Bye. Clubroot resistant variety of cabbages. Oh my God. Brain freeze. Not sure that's actually true, so I might edit this bit out. And then